one.
Hey, I'm Allie the alpaca, and welcome to Elena's Knits.
Hello, as Ali the alpaca foreshadowed, this is indeed Elena's Knits, and I am Elena. Welcome so very much to my knitting channel or knitting podcast. I don't know when to use which terminology. I'm really happy to have you here. Last week I had said I was going to use the same intro for spring, but then my friend Karen Marie told me, Karen Marie, of course, made by Karen Marie. I'll link hers below, her channel. She said that the YouTube algorithm isn't surfacing videos where nothing happens in the first 10 or 20 seconds. So I'm trying something new. We'll see. I'm trying not to be like preoccupied by numbers, but also I don't want to knowingly do something to prevent folks from seeing this. Anyhow, I'm gonna have to make today's recorded portion pretty quick because in 7 minutes our Chinese food is arriving. My husband had a craving and I am all for that. So today I wanted to share about the amazing event I went to last week. But first I'm going to tell you the usual things. What am I wearing and what have I been working on? Today I'm wearing my store sand top. It's maybe my favorite thing I've ever made. The pattern is by Sari Nordland, and I knit it in the yarn that it calls for, which is Sandnes Garn Duo. I knit it in slightly different colors than Sari in her sample. Hers was more yellow and white or cream, and mine is green, like a yellowy green, of course. So the colors, the white is 1002, and the green is 9825. And I used 5 balls of that and 1 ball of the white. Love it. The pattern was just complicated enough to really like calm my mind last spring when I was kind of going through a stressful time, like many people. This really just forced me to be in the moment. So I love this sweater top on many, many levels. I wore it to work this week. We had some warm weather, and I mean, almost everybody commented on it. Not that that's always the goal, but yeah, like I think it's objectively a beautiful garment. So now let's move on to the event that I mentioned last week.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Bonsoir tout le monde. We're in Canada, so anyway, we're very happy to be here in Toronto tonight. Arne, would you like to say the words?
Oh yeah, I'm your always your host Arne and Carlos. This is Carlos, and I'm Arne.
And
We didn't know where you were going with that.
Oh, okay. Well, now you know.
So if you see the clip, you'll see, yes, it was Arne and Carlos, who are 2 very famous fashion designers and knitwear designers, and just amazing, lovely, fun people from Norway. And they came to Toronto last Saturday, April, I want to say 11th, but anyways, a Saturday in April of 2026. And they spoke for, we were together for, I think they were from 7 to 10 p.m. And I'm not a late night gal these days. And I was like, I'm gonna be so sleepy. I was riveted. I was riveted by them. I was riveted by everybody there. Like the Knit City Toronto event that I went to a few weeks ago, everybody's so inspiring. Not just Arne and Carlos, not just the hosts from the Toronto Knitters Guild and sponsors and everybody, but yeah, just everybody who was there. my evening started really unexpectedly. I was going to take a picture by the sign that was outside with a picture of Arne and Carlos. Yeah, I have to remember to do the Arne part of Arne's name. Yeah, I was going to take a picture with the sign, and I'll insert the picture of me with it here. And there were two lovely women waiting, taking turns taking pictures of each other ahead of me. And I offered, as I often do, to take a picture of the two of them together with their camera. And then one of these wonderful women turned around and asked, "Are you Elena?" And I thought first, like, oh, maybe I know her through work. And she said, "I watch your podcast." And I just started laughing. I could not believe it. I mean, honestly, I still can't believe that I'm not just talking to, you know, my aunties, my few close friends, just the people who I've personally told that I'm doing this. So, you know what, everybody else, I'm just going to treat you like my close personal friend and my aunties as well. But yeah, I ended up sitting with this woman, so shout out to Angela and her friend Beth. We sat together during the event. We had really good chats. They pointed out some people who I didn't know who they were, but they're, you know, much more, quote, famous than me. Like, I'm quoting myself. I'm not really famous, but they are like legit knitting celebrities. They might not like that label either. But one of them was Kirk Dunn, who I sat next to, and he's the Knitting Pilgrim. And yeah, like, what an amazing story. I encourage you to look it up. I'll put a link to his page in the show notes. I just sat next to him because he had this amazing Cape facet looking sweater. Turns out that he's worked with them. Yeah, and then yeah, so many amazing sweaters in the audience too. But yeah, all in all, it was an amazing night. Yeah, I kind of pushed myself to sign up and to go. As I mentioned, I'm not like a evening going out person since we had our daughter. But you know what? A lot of nice things happen in the evening and outside of the house. So I'm glad that I pushed myself. Yeah, they told so many great stories, interesting stories. I'll put in a couple of clips. I hope that that's okay. Yeah, I thought like the stories that they told about their knitting history, and now it's all blending together in my mind with their podcast that I've been watching, Sit and Knit for a bit. But yeah, just like, I don't know, it was so fun. One fact that they shared that I thought was interesting was that they often work with Rowan, and I used to be a big Rowan fan. Not that I have anything against them, I just have kind of branched out in my influences. And when they work with Rowan, who are based in the UK, Rowan won't allow them to knit anything in the round. So, and I certainly that's just how I learned to knit. So I didn't think it was odd when I was more knitting with Rowan. Sorry, my timer's going off. Yeah, what was I saying? But yeah, because they do a lot of color work, they end up having to do a lot of intarsia when they're working with Rowan because of the back and forth. Anyways, I thought that's interesting. Like, why not branch out? Although I will say, like, if you're not a knitter, you know, there's many ways to knit a garment. You can knit it in the round. I think this was this was definitely knit in the round, where you're going front and you go around in the back, and you're using flexible needles like these, which I'll talk about in a minute. And so like, that's great because you don't have to do all the knitting, and then there's this long project of sewing things up and you never know if they're going to line up correctly. Yeah, but when you do seam things, they're like more likely to hold their shape. So pros and cons. yeah, I have a clip of Arne talking about his grandmother, who I think taught him to knit, and her sweater and the lifespan of her sweaters, and anyways, I will let him do the talking.
And I made this drawing of her while she was knitting, and she's wearing one of her finest jackets. This was some very nice jackets. On the drawing, it was not the finest anymore, and you can see, if you see the next picture, this is when it was the finest, because it had those red ribbons. Because if it was a really nice jacket back then, you put the ribbons on the outside as decoration. These days people use it on the inside to hide raw edges. That is not what they were used for. They should be on the outside as decoration. But when the jacket was worn out, she took those ribbons off and she put them on another jacket. And then she cut the sleeve to 3/4 and she put on a new rib, and then she could use it in the barn when she was milking the cow. By hand. You have to go into that bucket with warm water and wash the cow. It's a 3/4 sleeve. And
but yeah, it was really moving. Yeah, it was a great night. So I'm really glad I went. I will insert some clips, but also I will link their podcast/YouTube channel below, so that if you haven't been watching them, you have a gift in front of you. And I'll put a link to one episode specifically where they visit with, I want to say her name is Kate, but she's from the Last Homely House, and she's one of my mom's favorite crafters or creators, creative people who does YouTube stuff. And just is a real character. So the two of them went to visit her at her Last Homely House, and they did some crafting together, and it was just one of the most charming things I've ever seen. So I'll put a link to that specifically down below as well. Yeah, so in addition to Angela and Beth, hey, I want to just mention, I think her name was Rachel, but there was somebody who had knitted 7 melt the ice hats, and she was wearing one that she had knitted in a more like summer weight yarn, and she said it was Estelle Eco something that was more of a summer weight. So I'll put that in text down there once I look up my notes. Yeah, and then somebody was wearing a really amazing cowl. I think they were working the event, and she pointed out, oh yes, this was knitted by that person up there, Mary Martin. Also, I have so much to learn. It was, inspiring, but also humbling. You think you know a lot and you're a really good knitter, and then you see all these other people and what they know, but it's not a competition. It's just like a lovely community. So, but I have to still kind of talk myself through that a little bit. But the cowl was called Coffee Mom's Cowl, and it looks like Mary Martin is also a treasure trove of amazing patterns, that have really cool texture and color work. I will put that link in the show notes also. So I'll leave it there for now because I think our dinner has arrived. But I'm so grateful to have you with me. I'm so grateful to have had this experience. I'm planning to do a few more knitty events in the next few months, but I think probably next week will be a normal episode where I'm more chatty. I will mention quickly, I'm still working on my toe up 2 at a time socks, and I do apologize for being complaining about them so much last week. Events transpired which made me think that my opinion may have been influenced by hormones. However, I still don't think 2 at a time toe up is my greatest love of all time, sock-wise. But now I've turned the heels. That was actually a really cute process. This pattern makes a kind of triangle heel. I have contrasting yarn for the toes, heels, and cuffs. And it looks really adorable. And now I'm back to, knitting kind of straight across the legs to go up to the cuff and enjoying it again. And again, this is yarn from the Cozy Knitter. And I think it was called Autumn, but I didn't see it on their website last time I checked. All right, thanks for joining me. If you have time, please do leave me a comment below and like this episode, and you're very, very welcome to subscribe and join me every week. Every Sunday usually I post a new video, and I would love to hear from you. If you have a comment below or any questions, you're most welcome. Thank you very much, and see you next week. Bye-bye.